If you haven't got problems, I feel bad for your son. I got 99 problems and a bitch ain't one.
Good morning. CBG Productions presents Slade Sports Squad.
Good morning, everyone. It's 7:20 a.m. and me and David are here, ready to go. What's up, David? How you doing?
I'm still trying to wake up. How you doing this morning, Alex?
I'm doing pretty good. It was definitely a weird drive in. I never had to make the drive from my house to your house at 6:30 in the morning, but definitely glad that I'm here this early. I like being up early. It makes me feel like I get full production out of my day.
Right.
But let's jump right into it. So last night, the Denver Nuggets played a great game against the Philadelphia 76ers. And once again, even though the Sixers were without Joel Embiid and, help me out again, what's his name?
Jimmy Butler.
Jimmy Butler, yeah, that's
Dude,
right.
how can you forget that guy's name? That guy is spectacular.
Yeah, he should be on a better team, but, I mean, the
76ers, come on, man. That's a good squad.
They will be once
No.
they get back.
Well, yeah,
Jimmy Butler,
once everybody has,
Joel Embiid.
once they have everyone back, but
They still have talent without him. They got Ben Simmons, right?
Right.
And a couple other name guys that I can't think of off the top of my head. But anyway, back to the game last night. So it was pretty evenly matched the whole time I was watching it. Me and my girlfriend went out to a bar that we went to see this guy who plays like live music and stuff like that. But I was sitting there watching the game the whole time. I wasn't really paying attention to the dude.
Well, I'm glad he's playing live music.
Oh my god, sick of this dude. But anyway, so pretty evenly matched the whole game. Really, where we pulled away was in the last 5 minutes of the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
That's what I noticed.
I mean, just to let you know, too, the Sixers are 32-18 right now.
Right.
So, I mean, they're a good squad.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they'll be probably a top 4 team in the East, especially once they get their people back. So
Right. And speaking of the Nuggets, I had a little bit of a hard time this morning picking what I was going to wear because, Chris Harris today plays in the Pro Bowl. Last night the Nuggets got the win. I got that jersey that you guys bought me for Christmas. It was a tough decision, but in the end.
I see you went with the Chris Harris gear.
Yeah, I mean, it's his first game back since he broke his fibula.
True.
And I think that it'll be a good game for him, even though it doesn't mean anything. It's just something for fun. It'll be a good time. So, so as we sit right now with this Denver Nuggets team, we're sitting at 33-15, and I believe we're 2 games back of Golden State for the Western Conference.
1.5. Yeah.
1.5. So, and we're on a 2-game winning streak. We have one more road game, and then I believe we come back to the Pepsi Center, which I could be wrong. I don't have the schedule in front of me.
Yeah, let me check that really quick.
But let me ask you this: so, with everything that's going on in the way that we've played, even though last night Jamal Murray, like you told me when we were off air, wasn't in last night. He didn't play. He was, they sat him down. Wanted to make sure he's healthy. I know we talked about this a little bit last week, but has anything changed for you with the way you feel about this Nuggets team? Do you think that we're getting better? Or
no, because one, we beat a very bad Phoenix team,
right,
which we should have beat.
Yeah,
I mean, and we beat them the way we should have.
Mm-hmm.
But you got to remember, 2 weeks ago we went down there and we lost to Phoenix,
Mm-hmm.
and to be a good team,
you can't lose those kind of games.
You can't do that, And I'm not saying. Let me rephrase that. To be a great team,
yeah,
you can't go on the road and lose those kind of games.
Well, it's kind of like you were saying last week. It just kind of proves that they're a young team.
Right, and then they are a young team, and then we beat the Sixers last night. We beat them by 16 points, but their 2 best players were out of the game.
Do you think we would have beat them still?
If we had our full squad, if we had Jamal Murray, I think we probably would have. But I mean, we should have beat them by a lot more than 16 points, I think.
Well, if you think
with them without Joel Embiid and
Jimmy
Butler.
Right.
So,
but at the same time, we were, like you said, we were missing Jamal Murray. So it kind of, in my eyes, that kind of takes out, like, that evens it out for, them missing Jimmy Butler is equivalent, if not more, of a loss for the Denver Nuggets with us missing Jamal Murray. Because I think Jamal Murray is a better player than Jimmy Butler. So, but that I'm biased on that, so I don't know. I don't know what you think. If you think that Jamal Murray's a better player or not, but either way, like you said, we have plenty of the season left. We're not even halfway technically. Actually, we are. We're
well over halfway through.
Not well. We're 48 games in.
Yeah, 48.
So we're 7 games over.
7 games over halfway in.
Right. So,
unless the Nuggets have a complete collapse,
mm-hmm.
I can see them, finishing as the number 2 seed.
Right. As long as and that's the thing. With us only being a game and a half back, I know that the Warriors are playing great basketball and stuff like that, but it's not completely out of the cards for the Nuggets to go into number 1. Again.
No, it's not. If Golden State falters somewhere, but Golden State's on a roll now. They've won 10 in a row.
Right. And this is what they do.
They're disposing of teams,
mm-hmm.
at will. So you asked about the Nuggets. Here's their next 7 games, I'll call it.
Okay.
At Memphis, at New Orleans, and then we come home in Houston.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're back on the road for 4 games. We go at Minnesota, at Detroit, at Brooklyn, at Philadelphia.
So we're going 3 more on the road, 1 at home.
2 on the road.
2 on the road,
1 at home,
and then 4. Wow.
Right. So this is going to be a tough stretch. Denver needs to take care of business. Every one of these teams, Denver is capable of beating.
Right.
Going to Philadelphia, that's going to be a tough game,
mm-hmm.
Especially if they have their full squad back.
Right. Which I don't know what Jimmy Butler's injury looks like. I don't know what Joel Embiid.
Yeah, I'm not sure. And I'm going to jump on their page really quick and see if I can get a little bit injury information on their injuries. Jimmy Butler, he has a sprained right wrist. It says he's likely to return on Tuesday against the Lakers, and then Joel Embiid is day-to-day.
Okay.
So I could see him coming back in. He'll definitely be back
by the time they play.
By the time
Now let me throw this by you, because even though we are number 2, we're playing great basketball. We're doing the things that we need to do.
Right.
Something that kind of has me a little bit worried is Oklahoma City. Good basketball team. We've played them. We beat them. We know that we're a better team than them. But with them having a little bit more of a, veteran presence, like with Russell Westbrook and that Adams guy,
and they got Paul George.
Right.
Are you worried about us losing?
We're 3 games ahead right now.
Right.
Which, that's fine. Not really the most comfortable situation, but
No, it's not. But one thing I say about Oklahoma City, they seem to be inconsistent.
Well, that's what I was getting to. Is I believe that Russell Westbrook is the reason for that, because Russell Westbrook knows one speed, and that's 100 miles an hour.
That is true. He's not your slow down type point guard. That if he sees a game getting out of control or something like that, he's not going to slow down the tempo.
Mm-hmm.
And that's their philosophy in Oklahoma City, is push the ball.
Right. Well, because they have a lot of people who get down the court and they can run the fast break, just like Denver can.
Right. But that's the difference between Jamal Murray. I think Jamal Murray.
Well, I think that's a difference with the Nuggets as a team and whole.
They understand how to slow it down, and they can play some defense.
Right.
And Oklahoma City, the last 10 games, they're 5-5.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I said, they just seem to be inconsistent.
Right.
We'll see how it pans out. I honestly think Denver, if I'm going to worry about anybody in that division, I think it would be Portland more so than it would be
Right, which I mean,
Oklahoma City, which they're only 3.5 games behind.
right. So a half game behind Oklahoma City for the second spot in the Northwest,
Right.
and then 3.5 from us. You know,
Right.
which and Portland
And
is
the Northwest Division, I mean, we hold 3 of the top 4 places in the Western Conference.
right.
I mean, it's a tough division.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, so with all that being said, with everything that we just talked about, I mean, what are realistic expectations for this team?
For this, my realistic expectations are for the Nuggets to finish in the number 2 seed.
Okay.
And then, as long as we don't run into Houston, we really need to pray that in the playoffs, we need to really pray that Houston runs into Golden State somewhere.
Right. So what would that scenario have to look like? Because that would mean that if, say, Golden State's at number 1, Houston would have to be at number 8, right?
Well, no, they don't have to meet in the first round. They can meet in the second round.
That's true.
You know,
so as long as we don't have to go through
right. We just have problems with Houston. We've lost 10 in a row against Houston.
Right. So you think ultimately that Golden State is a better matchup for the Denver Nuggets than the Rockets are?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, because we've shown that we can beat Golden State. Now, this last game that we had against Golden State
was not pretty.
No, it wasn't. And was it just a fluke? I mean, I don't know. Golden State is just...
Well, I think at that point there's a lot of different scenarios too, because we were in Golden State at the time, right? Or was it at home when we lost to them last?
That was at home.
So it was at home.
Right.
Maybe.
We have 2 more games against them that are going to be in Oakland.
Okay.
So we've played our 2 home games already against them. So
we're
we
1-1. Yeah.
You know, we need to go into Golden State.
At minimum, and split with them.
Right. We need to prove we can win on their court.
Right.
Because if we can't during the regular season, this team just elevates his game in the postseason.
Right. And once they get rolling in that postseason, like they do now, on a 10-game winning streak, if that happens in the postseason, you can almost say goodbye to the Western Conference. You know?
Right.
So
you know what? And I'm not going to sit here and if Denver loses in the Western Conference Finals, I'm not going to sit here and say this season was a waste.
No,
because
definitely
it's not. And it's sort of like I explained last week. Before Chicago became dominant, you know, and won their 6 titles,
right,
they could not beat Detroit in the playoffs.
Right.
You know, and then they finally got past them. You know, and I could see that's where Denver may be.
Right.
You know, and the thing is, excuse me, Denver goes to the Western Conference Finals. I think Denver now really becomes a destination that free agents may want to come to.
Right.
We had a losing culture. I don't think, and I don't know this for certain, I'm just saying this, I don't know if players didn't like George Karl.
Right.
You know, and didn't want to play for him. Maybe they didn't like his coaching philosophy or anything like that. But Malone seems to be more of a player's coach.
Right.
I think he's more
relatable, probably.
Yeah, he relates better to the players.
And he's a younger guy.
George Karl did. Yeah.
So.
And I mean, he's doing a great job with this team. I mean, it's like we said. Every year, this team has improved since he's been here. And now this team is at the point where it can go to the Western Conference Finals.
Well, yeah, where that's a realistic talk that we're having here in Denver.
It's not like, okay, well, we're just being a bunch of homers, you know.
Right.
But like I said, we need to hope that we don't meet up with Houston in the second round.
Right.
And we can't go into the first round and blow it. You know?
Definitely.
We can't go in and match up... like right now, if we played...
If the playoffs started today.
Right. We would be matched up with Utah. Yeah, the Utah Jazz.
Right. Which...
We
they proved the other night
that they can play
beat.
with us.
Right.
You know?
Maybe it was a fluke, maybe it wasn't, but...
And that's the thing. The top 8 in the Western Conference...
are tough teams, regardless.
They are tough teams. I mean, and... The only one that I'll say is really above everybody else is Golden State. 2 through 7, I mean,
It's anybody's ball game.
right.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, 8, 7 could easily knock off 2.
Right.
If 2 came in there and were
Playing
a little
good basketball.
overconfident and, you know, and didn't really
Right.
put their effort in, which as a young team that sort of scares you too.
Right.
How's this team going to respond to any adversity in the playoffs?
Right.
So,
Well, that's where I think that our coach steps in, and I think that because he's so relatable, that these players listen. You know, that they support him in every decision he's making, and when he tells them, "Hey, you guys are getting overconfident. You're not doing the right things to win this basketball game or win this series,"
right.
that they bounce back. You know, and that's what I'm hoping for. You know, because like you said, if we make it to the Western Conference Finals, which this is a little theory I have, you know, so we all know that Melo doesn't have a home right now. And not saying that it really matters because Melo has kind of fallen off as a player since he left Denver.
Right.
You know, but do you think, let me ask you this, do you think that if we make it to the Western Conference Finals this year, when we lose, we don't go to the finals, whatever, that's fine. Like you said, it's not a disappointing season. Do you think that people like Carmelo Anthony and, you know, even like some of the other free agents that are going to be coming available?
Well, I don't think Carmelo Anthony.
You don't think there's ever a chance for him to come back here to Denver?
I don't think there's a point for him now. You know,
Right.
Not how old he is. You
Mhm.
know, it's like you and I talked before. Carmelo Anthony doesn't want to come off the bench and be a role player.
Right.
You know,
Which is what he would be most suited
that's
at.
exactly what he would be. He's
Right.
not going to come in here and take away anybody's starting position. Now, what you really need to do if you're trying to attract a top-notch free agent,
Mhm.
then you need to decide which of your 5 starters is really dispensable.
Right.
You know, and then you go
hmm
after a superstar, you know, to take that person's place. Because I don't know if we really want just a role player.
Right.
I mean, we do need role players to come off the bench.
Well, see, that's
I
where I
think we could
disagree. I don't
bolster-
think so.
I think we could add a couple more, you know, pieces to our bench. I mean, yeah, our guys are good. You know, they fit into our system well.
Right.
So,
And another thing we have to keep into consideration is it Michael Porter Jr. who's out right now, who
Yes.
who won't be back till next year,
right.
and that's another addition that we'll have to this Nuggets team that might add in as a factor to if these players come to Denver or not. You know, so. A lot to look forward to in the future, I think, with these Denver Nuggets. I mean, like we've been talking about, great basketball team.
I'm going to agree 100%. I mean, this team, this is the closest I think a Nuggets team has ever had a team where they could win a championship.
Right.
I mean, when we had Carmelo Anthony and went to the Western Conference Finals,
Right.
there wasn't the supporting cast that this team has now.
And then a couple years, and then after that,
And that's why Carmelo Anthony left.
right.
You know, ownership at the time, and I don't know if it's ownership, I don't know if it's a poor general manager, I'm not really sure what it is, but they would not bring in the players, but then maybe, you know, it goes back to the whole George Karl thing.
Mm-hmm.
Did players not want to come here?
Right.
You know?
Well, I think
I know George Karl and Kenyon Martin,
Mhm.
is that how you say his name?
I thought it was just Kenyon.
Kenyon, you're right, Kenyon Martin.
Mhm.
I mean, those two butted heads like crazy.
Right.
I mean,
Well, I
Denver
know-
tried to bring in some high-profile free agents,
Right.
but it just didn't work because of George Karl, I think.
Right, and I know at some points even Carmelo Anthony and George Karl had their differences or whatever. But do you remember when the Nuggets, like you were talking about, the Nuggets made it to the Western Conference Finals, you know, with Carmelo, just Carmelo, and then
Right.
a couple years after that, I think it was the year after that, they signed AI. He left,
Right.
or he came back, and then we also had Chauncey Billups, you know, and that was really the big three for the Denver Nuggets before the big three was a thing, you know.
Right.
And with all that talent, with Chauncey Billups, Allen Iverson, and Carmelo, we couldn't do anything still.
And I'm going to blame that all on coaching.
Me too, because if you have that much talent,
You should be able to, that team should make a push. Now, if that's all you have are those three players, then you have a bunch.
But that wasn't true because we had Marcus Camby, we still had Kenyon Martin, we had Chris Anderson, and a bunch of other name players.
And I agree. No, and I was just making a point.
No,
I know we had the talent on that team.
Right.
Now, if you just had those three, and then you had a bunch of other dudes who couldn't even make the team somewhere else, you know, I could see. But yeah, like you were saying, that team was loaded up with talent.
Right.
And I just don't know why that they just could not.
We couldn't do anything.
And I sort of know why, and I'm gonna blame it all, you know, on the coach.
Right.
I think that.
Well, I think that's the biggest difference maker here in Denver is right now the difference between George Karl and Mike Malone.
Right.
I mean, look at what so let's match it up. You got let's just say in the same talent sense that Carmelo Anthony is matched up with Joker in like new school, old school kind of thing.
Right.
So, and then you got Allen Iverson who's matched up with Jamal Murray, and then you got Chauncey Billups who's like Torrey Craig.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm not saying that Torrey Craig is way better than
out of those three matchups that you just mentioned there.
Mm-hmm.
The only one that I would say the current player is better is the Joker and Carmelo Anthony.
Right.
I think Joker is a far superior player than Carmelo Anthony.
Oh, I do too.
Carmelo Anthony.
He's good when he gets into rhythm.
Right, but he's a ball hog, and everything had to go through him.
Right.
I mean, look at Joker. This dude's like pulling out triple doubles, you know, like crazy.
And dude, I saw this play last night where he was double teamed. They were double teaming him at one point because he was on a streak of shooting or whatever, and he was mid jump shot, and he recognized that he was getting double teamed, and he threw a pass between these two defenders in a perfect window. And got it to Plumlee underneath, and they scored 2 points.
You know, and that's the thing. I mean, the Joker is not a selfish player.
No.
You know, now Jamal Murray, at this stage in his career, I would take the answer over him every single day.
Well, yeah, me too. I mean, Allen Iverson is one of the greatest basketball players to ever play. So
Chauncey Billups is Chauncey Billups.
Right.
That's the greatest basketball player to come out of the state of Colorado ever.
Right.
You know, and I mean.
No, I completely agree. I mean, not that Torrey Craig isn't a really great player.
Well, let's not say great.
Okay, good player.
Right.
But I think he's up and coming. He's young, you know, and he's...
Yeah, and I think he's going to be a very good player. I don't know if he'll ever reach that great status. That's one thing I think people in the media tend to do.
Is overhype people.
They use the term great way too much. I mean, you want to talk about great... Then you talk about players like LeBron James,
Steph Curry, KD.
Right, you know, Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan.
Right.
Those are great players.
People that when you think about basketball, the first thing that you think about is Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan, Allen Iverson, Chauncey Billups, you know. So.
You know, people like that, you know, and the media, I don't know if the media is just trying to create the next superstar, you know. But we'll see. So, yeah, I'm excited about the Nuggets. I mean, I think these next 7 games are going to... 6 of the 7 are on the road. We're going to find out what the Nuggets, you know...
Are really about.
They are. You know, right now, they're playing 500 ball on the road. We need to play above 500.
Right. And even if it's just, you know, a couple games over 500, it's got to be over 500. You can't split on the road. Because that's where you're going to win those games. That get you higher into the playoffs.
Through the rest of the season, we have 4 more road games than we do home games. So we need to take care of business on the road. Right. Yeah, you're going to have your tough games. You're going into Golden State twice, you know. Next week we're going into Philadelphia. And you got to try to steal some of those, but the games you should win, you have to win.
Right.
You know,
you can't let these like nobodies just slip in and be like, "Oh, I just beat the Denver Nuggets."
Right. You can't go into Memphis and blow it.
You can't go into Utah and blow it. You can't go in. Basically, anybody who's below you at this point in the standings, you have to beat them.
You have to beat them if you want to hold position where you're at.
Especially with the fact that because the more you lose, the bigger of a gap between you and Golden State there is.
Right.
And we don't need that. I mean, obviously, if we finish at number 2, it's not the worst thing that can happen.
No, it's not.
But
You know,
why settle for number 2 when you're in
one's within reach.
Right. Exactly.
You know, you're going to need some help, and you're going to need people to beat Golden State. You know, if we stick within a game and a half, we got 2 games with Golden State.
Right.
If we want to prove we're the best team in the Western Conference, then we better go into Golden State and beat them 2 times.
I completely agree. So, well, with that being said, we've got plenty of time to talk about these Denver Nuggets.
Oh yeah,
we said, we're just a little over halfway through the season, with the 2-game winning streak, and we're looking good. So we'll see as the season plays out what happens with these Denver Nuggets. But for me, I'm excited. I think that we have a good squad, and the coaching is just helping out. It's just adding to that greatness, I think. So we'll see what happens with this Denver Nuggets team. With that, we're going to go to break, and we'll see you on the other side.
All right, see ya. Some coffee.
So now what are we doing?
College basketball.
Okay.
Let me know when you're ready.
I need to clean my ears out. I'm ready whenever you are.
All right, we are back here on the Squadcast.
Squadcast.
All right. Sorry, man. I don't know what's wrong with my voice. We talked a little bit about college basketball. We really haven't talked about it.
All that much.
We're getting into late January, heavy into conference play. And then next thing you know, March is going to be here, and it's time to ramp it up. You know.
I'm waiting for my bracket, man. I'm excited about it.
We'll definitely have a bracket challenge. I think what we'll do is, we'll try to figure out some way where we can make a bracket challenge. Anybody out there who wants to play along, we can have a little fun.
Right.
I think it'd be pretty neat. Yesterday, the premier game, I think, was Kentucky and Kansas.
Yeah. Which, dude, I have to. That Zion guy, or however you say his name, I don't know. That dude is a boy.
Yeah, Zion.
That's a man amongst boys. That dude can play basketball, and that.
Oh, the guy for Duke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I got those 2 teams.
That's all right. So no, that's all right.
But yeah, I mean, Duke definitely is a premier basketball team, along with these 2 teams in Kansas and Kentucky.
Yeah, I mean Duke's the number 2 team. I mean, and I'm shocked right now who the number 1 team is Tennessee.
Did they end up winning last night?
Yeah, Tennessee did win. They won big.
83-66 against West Virginia.
Yeah.
Wow.
So yesterday was the SEC Big 12 Challenge. They had a lot of schools matched up. I don't know how it finished out last I saw, the Big 12 was up 5-2, but that was before the Kentucky-Kansas game finished.
Right.
And then there were a couple other games, so I'm not sure how it all finished out. But I think it's pretty cool that they do that every year.
Yeah, me too.
I think they take the top teams in the conference, and they match them up. I think it may be the top 8 or top 10 of each.
I think it just gives
conference.
You that kind of more outside of a rivalry kind of thing.
It does. It's a fun thing to sort of break up conference tournament, and these are two of the elite conferences in college basketball. Of course you got the ACC still. With Duke, it's not what it used to be, where Carolina, Wake Forest, and NC State, and all those schools were just dominant. I remember when the big excuse me, the ACC was the dominant conference in college basketball.
Okay there, Kurt?
Karate help.
So,
But let me ask you this. I know that you probably watched this game, but how about that LSU game, man?
I'll tell you what, LSU.
Walk me through it. Walk me were you watching the game when it happened?
I unfortunately was not, because I had to leave. I had an engagement. When I stopped watching, and it was just after halftime. I think LSU was a little ahead, and then I know Missouri just really started, putting the pressure to them, and then they went up by 14 points, I believe, with 2 minutes left, and I did not see the end. I wish I would have, and I'm gonna have to go back and replay this and watch it, because that's just crazy. You're down by 14 with 2 minutes left. You come back, you tie the game up, and then next thing you know it, you win the thing in overtime.
And not only that, in the first overtime, or in the only overtime, it kind of seemed like it was going to go to a second overtime, because they were evenly matched with I think 40 seconds left. It was 80-80 with 40 seconds left, I believe, and then LSU kind of put on the gas and scored those 6 points that got them in the lead, and played some really good defense down the stretch that got them the win.
Yeah, LSU is a surprising team. They're 16-3. Wade is doing a great job there as the coach. He's brought a lot back to that program. I remember the old days when LSU had Shaq and they had Chris Jackson. LSU, Ben Simmons, comes out of LSU. So LSU used to be a pretty dominant not winning championships, but they were a good team.
They were producing NBA caliber players.
And they were always, advancing, in the tournament, in the big dance. So I look for this team, and we'll find out more, as we progress in the SEC conference, because right now I think the SEC, it may have the best basketball conference right now from top to bottom.
Right, and that's something, speaking of the SEC in basketball, with LSU sitting at 16-3, and they're undefeated in their conference.
Right.
Which is fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. They're going to have to, meet up with Kentucky still, and they have to play Tennessee, and so they're going to have some challenges. But this team, it's a good team. I think they do a good job.
Right. Another nail biter that I got a chance to watch last night. I was out with my lady, and we went to see some live music, like I said in our first segment. But another one that I got a chance to watch was the ASU USC game, and that was a good game too. USC ended up pulling it out at the end of the game, but like I said, it was evenly matched throughout the whole game. Very close in a sense that both these teams they're unranked, but I think that being that they're both in the Pac-12, they can play some basketball for sure.
Right.
Pac-12, obviously holding Arizona and Washington, UCLA, and stuff like that. not really great basketball teams, but good basketball teams to where if you can start winning in your conference like USC did last night, then there's no reason that you don't find yourself in the tournament.
You know, and that's one thing I like about college basketball. If you win your conference championship, guess what?
It's an automatic bid.
You're going to the tournament.
Right.
And I think that's where football needs to progress to.
Yeah.
You know?
But how many teams are in?
8. So 8 teams in the tournament?
Yeah.
The basketball?
Right.
60, well, used to be 64, but now they got the play-in game, so I think you end up with 66
or something
teams.
And how many of those are going to be your conference champions?
I don't know. I would have to look. I mean,
right.
I know there's.
The only reason I ask is because
because they take all the conferences in Division I.
Right.
You know, so
your Mountain West champions.
Yeah, your Mountain West. Your
SEC, Big Ten, Pac-12.
Yeah, everything. I mean, every conference that's in Division I, their conference champion gets an automatic bid. You know, and that's why you see the Davidsons. You know, and
which I love those.
I do too. I love those small schools. I mean, like Butler. I mean, I remember when Butler was just a couple of years ago, and they made a push into the Final Four.
Right.
You know, and it's
and
nice to see some of these smaller programs.
Exactly.
You know,
get farther.
Making some noise.
I love those Cinderella stories. They're the best. I think that's one of the best things about college basketball is that you get those smaller schools like you're talking about who you would never in a million years imagine them getting to like even the Sweet 16.
Right.
But they do, and then they amaze you and get to the Final Four.
Yeah. I mean, that's probably one of my favorite times in all of sports is March Madness.
Oh yeah, me too. Because even if you're not a fan, like even if like me, you know, I'm not a huge basketball fan, like unless it's pro basketball.
Right.
But when March Madness rolls around, you best believe I'm hopping on the internet and I'm doing my research so I can get my bracket right.
Right.
You know, and people watch because I mean, when you fill out your bracket, it kind of gives you incentive to see if you're right, you know, and if you're putting money on it or whatever you're doing, whether it's a friendly bet or if you're just like, you know, in a pool at work or something like that, you figure out exactly how you can win, and hopefully, you know, you get closer and closer, and it's just it's fun. It's a fun thing to do. It's a fun time of year, and I love college basketball when March Madness rolls around.
Yeah, I do too, and we'll start talking about this every week, you know, just get a little bit more on board. For my nephew Ian out there, sorry, but your Carolina team, they ain't doing it this year, buddy. But yeah, we'll start talking more about college basketball. You know, as we're getting into the meat of things, and we'll start bringing that up. We got college baseball going to be starting here,
right? And I know you're excited about that.
Preseason number 1 LSU.
Oh my God!
Yep.
So
women's gymnastics.
Oh yeah.
LSU just beat Alabama. Yes.
There we go.
Anytime we beat Alabama in anything, it's good. It's a good day.
Oh man.
So
wait till the swim team gets out. You know.
That's right. That's right. So.
All right. Well, I mean, you got anything else before we take this one out on college basketball?
No, I really don't. I mean, I just think it's going to be fun, and I can't wait for March Madness.
Oh yeah.
So.
I mean, we got a couple months, so hold on.
Yeah.
But it's going to be fun leading up to March Madness.
Really, I mean, 4 weeks basically.
Yeah.
I mean, that first week or so of March, you got the conference championships, and then we're into the tournament. So 4 or 5 weeks, we're starting the tournament.
Right.
So it'll be nice. The nice thing is the conference championships are like a prequel to the tournament.
Right.
You know, because you got teams playing out, and you get a team that gets hot in the conference championship. They may have been the number 9 team in their conference. They get hot, they win the tournament. Guess what? They're going to the dance.
Right.
I mean,
yeah.
So
no, I completely agree, and I think that with these 5 weeks leading up to the March Madness, you know, and once you get into this time is super exciting because you're going to see who's going to be there and who's not, and you know, you're going to see who's going to take this and run with it, or you're going to see teams fall off. It's just super exciting. You get to see every kind of basketball, you know, different types, different styles, stuff like that. You know, different schools, the way they win, how other
Right.
schools win, and stuff like that. It's just, like you said, great time. It's a prequel to the tournament, which is always exciting because you never know what's going to happen, and that's college basketball for you. So
Yeah, it definitely is. So, all right, we will come back. We're going to talk a little bit of NFL football to include the Pro Bowl. Talk a little bit about the conference championships that just went down.
Right. And
And
then,
then,
well, you know, we got to talk about the Super Bowl a little bit. You know?
Right.
So,
We'll talk about the Super Bowl a little bit, but next weekend will really be our big Super Bowl blowout. So we will be back here shortly to talk some NFL football.
what time do we have to be done recording by?
All right, everybody, we're back here on Slade Sports Squad.
Yep.
So, Alex, what'd you think of those conference championship games?
Conference championship games. For basketball?
No, for football.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Like, what are you talking about?
Dude, man.
No, honestly.
How many beers you drink last night watching this music?
I mean, a lot, but. But yeah, let's start off with the AFC. So, you know, I think the Chiefs laid it out all on the line. They played one of the greatest football games I've ever seen played against the Patriots.
Right.
And it just shows you, it goes to show how great Tom Brady and the Patriots really are. You know, how consistent they have been for the last, 18 years?
Right.
Tom Brady and Bill Belichick have built something in New England with Robert Kraft that is going to go down in history as one of the greatest football teams ever, you know? So the fact that Kansas City laid it out all on the line and they still came up a little bit short. There were some questionable calls in that game. I understand that roughing the passer on Tom Brady was just ridiculous. But at the end of the day, you can't sit here and say, hey, that could have won us the game. That you guys were in the position. Tom Brady did what he does best, and he pulled it out. You know, he won the game for the New England Patriots, and yet again, for I don't know how many times in a row, they're back in the Super Bowl. You know, I think it's 3 in a row now, or 2 in a row. But
I believe 2 in a row. So,
but with that being said, like I just said, the Kansas City Chiefs have a young. It's like we were just talking about with the Nuggets. You know, the Kansas City Chiefs have a very young team, and they have a great coach in Andy Reid that is a genius, I believe. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see the same matchup again next year with New England and Kansas City in the AFC title.
yeah, you saw where Kansas City fired their defensive coordinator, right?
Yeah. Well, and
it had to come. I mean, the guy couldn't. He couldn't. Their defense.
one of the worst.
It was horrible.
The only good thing that they had going is that they were number 2 in the league with most sacks going into the game.
Right, but I mean, look how many points they gave up.
Right.
That team gave up a lot of points.
Mm-hmm. No, I completely agree.
And
but that just shows you what kind of league this is now. It used to be if you had a bad defense, you weren't going anywhere in the playoffs because defense wins games and stuff like that. or the old saying, defense wins championships. But because they have such a star-studded offense and their offensive line is good, they got a good running game, they got a good receiving game, they have Tyreek Hill, Patrick Mahomes, a bunch of superstars on their offensive side of the ball. They kind of just could play their game and not have to worry about that.
And my
defense.
question is, too, what's the defensive coordinator doing over there? I mean, they're running the same formation every time.
Mm-hmm.
They're stacking up the two receivers. They got Edelman in the slot,
Right.
you know. And Tony Romo's sitting up there in the booth. He's telling you exactly what's coming.
Right.
You know, you're going to clear these guys out with these receivers, and Edelman's going to run right down the middle.
Mm-hmm.
And they did it.
Right.
And every time he's wide open.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, how do you not make that adjustment? How do you not see that formation over and over and over again, and you do nothing to stop it?
And you know what I don't get with the whole Tony Romo thing is that you got one guy sitting in a broadcast booth. You got like 4 or 5, 6 people sitting up in your your defensive coordinator booth. And
I mean, he's calling this out as it's happening live.
right.
These guys have the ability to go back and look at some film.
Mm-hmm.
You know, while they're on offense, they can look at pictures and things like that.
Right.
How can they not figure this out?
Well, what I don't understand is how they prepared for this game. Because if Tony Romo can figure it out on the fly like that when they're in formation, I get it. He's played the New England Patriots a bunch of times. He's seen a bunch of film, but that was years ago.
Right.
And you're telling me that you had a week to prepare for this game and you have no idea what Tom Brady's going to do and what Bill Belichick has in store for his
I saw
offense?
the funniest meme on Facebook the other day.
What was that?
It says something about, Tony Romo wishes he could have read defenses as well as he does now when he was playing.
Right.
So-
Which I've never really been a huge fan of Tony Romo as a football player because I think he's a choke artist, but the dude knows what he's talking about.
Oh, he does.
And-
I mean, he's annoying sometimes, but
I think he's a great broadcaster. I think the dude knows what he's doing.
well, he does. He knows the game. He understands the game, and it's nice to have it. Somebody up there who's played the game.
Who can relate
and
to
relate to today's game.
Mhm.
Instead of some of these old guys that can't relate to the style of football being played.
Right.
These days. So it is nice. It's refreshing. Yeah, he's like I said, a little annoying at times. But
I got to say one thing too before we switch it over to the NFC side. So
well,
go ahead.
how does Kansas City fix it in the future? And I hope they don't, because I mean
That looks bad for the Broncos.
right?
But
But they started in the regular season game when they played New England. They started really slow against them,
Right.
offensively, and then they did it again.
Uh-huh.
What they get down 14-0.
yeah,
Just like that. You get down 14-0, you're not coming back and beating the Patriots.
I mean they almost did.
Right, they almost did,
But-
but when you have to play that kind of football, it's sort of like basketball. You ever notice teams, they get down by 15 points or so, they make a run, they get back in it, and then next thing you know it, the other team's pulling away again.
Well, because they spend all their energy.
Right, and you do the same thing in football. You get down 14 points,
You got to use all your
you got to
resources.
start playing differently, and you get outside of your game plan.
Right.
I just don't. Andy Reid is the greatest regular season coach, but man,
Can't do it in the playoffs.
he cannot do it in the playoffs.
I mean, I'm happy that they finally made it past the first round because with Alex Smith and years
well,
ago-
and it had been a long time since Kansas City had won a home playoff game,
Right. And I'm glad they
So-
did. I'm glad they got there. I'm a huge fan of Patrick Mahomes. So really, I know you just asked me what can they do to put themselves back in this situation and make it a better situation. It's really their defense. If they can go out and get an offensive or a defensive coordinator, and with the players that they have on the Kansas City Chiefs, like Eric Berry, Justin Houston, a couple other name players. There's no reason that this Kansas City defense can't be good.
right.
And the fact of the matter is you have a young quarterback on the other side of the ball that's going to be with you guys for at least 10
Well,
years.
when you basically cannot stop the Patriots, and the only time they really were stopped is when they threw interceptions.
Mm-hmm. Which I'll give credit to the defense because they went in there and did what they were supposed to, for the most part.
Whose defense?
Kansas City. They got turnovers on Tom Brady. And
they got 2 turnovers, but they couldn't stop them any other time.
Right. Well,
Kansas City's now crying. All the fans are crying. We need to change the overtime rules.
No, you don't.
No. Why do you need to change them? If you guys want, go out there and stop them.
Yeah. New England knew exactly what they were doing if they won that coin toss. Before they even went out and flipped the coin, Tom Brady knew if they won that coin toss, they're going to take the ball.
Right.
Because Kansas City
don't sit there and cry and say, oh, we got to change the rules now. Why? Because you lost?
Right.
Yeah, I bet you if you won, and if New England fans were saying, we got to change the rules because we didn't get to touch the ball,
right?
You'd be like,
I mean, in essence, the New England Patriots won a coin toss.
Personally, I think they should change the rules, especially in playoff football.
Mm-hmm. I think each team
just go to a full 15-minute quarter.
Yeah.
And you play it out a full 15 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And then if it's tied again, you do it again.
Right.
Now, if the game starts to get too long, then you say, okay, we need to set some boundaries. Maybe you play one full 15-minute quarter.
Right.
And then after that,
it's sudden death.
It's sudden death.
Which I can deal with.
Because then no team can sit there and say, well, we didn't get a chance.
You
had a chance. You had a chance to stop them and get the ball back.
And what I hate about teams who said they didn't have a chance in overtime, then you should have beat them in regulation.
Right.
If you didn't want this game to go the way that it did,
you got the lead at the end of the game.
Mm-hmm.
And you couldn't stop them.
One time. You needed it one time.
Right. So you had a chance to win right there.
Right.
You would have stopped them, you win the game.
No, I completely...
But no, what happens? They drive down, they tie it up, and then guess what? They get the ball in overtime. Okay? Stop them.
And they drive it 80 yards downfield.
If you want your chance, stop them.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's the way the rules are right now.
Right.
I agree they should be changed, I like the college system.
Where
everybody just gets the ball, you start on the 25 or whatever, and maybe you make it further for the NFL. Maybe each team starts at midfield or something.
I say you start them at the 25 on the opposite side of the field.
Yeah.
And you have to go 75 yards.
Right.
And each team gets a possession, and after that, it's game over.
Right. Game over, unless it's still tied, and then you're in a sudden death situation. I mean, because you can't have these players just playing these god awful. Like, look at that LSU Texas A&M game that went 7 overtimes. Come on, that's ridiculous.
Right.
People are going to start getting hurt.
Right.
So you can't do that.
Well, that's why.
But I think if either you do it that way or you just throw on a full extra quarter.
Well, not even a full extra quarter. You give it maybe how they do in basketball. They do a 5-minute overtime.
Right. And in regular season, it's a 10-minute quarter. It's still the same rules. If the first team to get the ball scores a touchdown, then it's over.
Right.
If they don't, then the other team gets a chance. But other than that, it's a 10-minute quarter. So, but I think in the playoffs, you need to do something about it. So,
right.
All right, that's my rant. Let's talk about the NFC Championship game now.
Okay. So you got the Saints, and now the best team in the NFC that has been proven, the LA Rams.
Somebody in this room picked the LA Rams to win the Super Bowl.
And that would be you.
That would be me.
That would be you.
Now, I didn't pick them last week because I just, the Rams just hadn't played up to their full potential all year. I don't know what's going on with Gurley. Is Gurley hurt?
I just think he's trying to bounce back because he knows that this team needs him. Now they have C.J. Anderson, so they have insurance on Gurley if he is not able to go.
Right, and that is one good thing they have, is they do have another option now where they don't have to rush Gurley back,
Right.
And, he just disappeared in that game,
Yeah, he was absent,
Right.
Which is fine, hopefully he has a couple weeks now. Or he has another week to get ready, and hopefully he'll be back for the Super Bowl because that's really going to be a big factor in this game.
Yeah, and I really want to see what Sean McVay dials up against these Patriots.
No, you know who I'm excited for? Wade Phillips. Yeah. Dude, that dude has 2 weeks to stop the Patriots.
Yeah.
That is going to be one great defensive scheme.
I think this is going to be a really good game from concepts, you know, what the Patriots... I mean, you got Belichick over there who's just a genius, you know.
Right.
And now you got a young, innovative coach in Sean McVay. What's he going to... And then you got the defensive genius, Wade Phillips. I mean, it's going to be fun. But let's talk about that NFC Championship game. Because I'm going to say this, too, and I posted this on Facebook the other day. You know what, Saints fans? I'm tired of hearing about it.
Right.
Stop with your lawsuits, your petitions.
Right.
We're not replaying the game. They're not
No,
going to
you guys
overturn.
lost.
You know
Get
what?
over
you
it.
guys had a chance.
And you're going to
You
blame
guys-
your
you
whole
guys had-
season on one play?
You guys had the ball at the 12-yard line.
Uh-huh.
You know?
Yeah.
With 2 minutes left in the game. And what is your coach doing throwing the ball? You run the ball. You
Right.
run the clock down. If you don't get a first down or a touchdown, you still kick a field goal. And the Rams maybe have a minute 20 left to drive down and tie it up.
Right.
Your chances are a lot better.
But no, instead...
But instead, you're going to sit there and say, you know what? I know it was a bad call. It was a horrible call.
Right. It should have been PI.
What
get
the
it.
refs were looking at, I have no idea. But you know what? It's done. It's over with. That's not the first team that's ever had a bad call go against them, and it won't be the last
I mean, it's
time.
just like we were talking about, that roughing the passer on Tom Brady.
Right.
Bullcrap. It shouldn't have been roughing the passer.
Right.
The dude put his hand on his chest.
Right.
But
You know what?
on
But-
and in this game, you're telling me that the only reason you lost that game is because of that pass interference? No.
No.
That's bad coaching. It's
Right.
bad play call. And you shouldn't have been... Drew Brees should have changed it up, too.
Right.
If last line of defense is Drew Brees, and you're telling me that dude isn't smart enough to go, hey, oh, wait, we're on the 12? Let's audible into a run. I don't care. I mean...
and the same thing. You jump up on this team. I mean, they were up, what, 13-0?
Right.
Okay. Then bury them.
Right.
You're the Saints. I mean, this is a team that just
One of the-
scores at will.
Right. One of the best offenses that the NFL saw all year.
Right. You know, we can't help it that your defense,
Can't stop
Right.
Pee-wee team.
Right.
You know?
you know,
Now, I will give it to the Rams because even though missing Todd Gurley and, you know, all other factors being in New Orleans,
right.
I'm still a firm believer that the Rams have the best team in the NFL. Like, well-rounded. They got the best
Oh, I do too. Their
the best defense.
Yeah.
Arguably the best offense, you know, minus Tom Brady and the Patriots.
Well, yeah, and I'm not going to say the Patriots have the best offense, but they have the best philosophy.
Right.
You know,
I mean, they have the
and,
best
and
head
they have
coach.
the best quarterback.
Right.
You know,
I mean,
I
8 conference championships
in a row.
in a row.
I mean, and the guy's not even aging.
No.
It's like,
And
okay,
people are-
what kind of freak stuff is this guy doing when he goes home?
Right. I mean, it's
So-
got to be his wife, you know.
Right. Yeah.
But people are already asking, like, is he going to come back next year? If I'm Tom Brady, hell yeah, I'm coming back next year. He's how
Well,
old
he
is
has said he wants to play till he's 45.
And how old is he now?
He's 40.
40.
40,
The dude is
41,
40.
so-
He's old. He's one of the oldest quarterbacks in the league. And
Well, I think he is the
no,
oldest.
Drew Brees is. I'm pretty
Drew
sure.
Brees is
I'm,
older?
I'm pretty sure.
So-
But anyway, and you're telling me you're asking a dude who's 40 making all these young guys look stupid,
Right.
you know, to retire? No, dude, he's going to keep playing his game until someone figures out, hey, like, we can stop Tom Brady, you know? Now, with this Super Bowl that's coming up, I believe, like I've been saying, we kind of had a taste of it in these championship games. So AFC, it was Tom Brady versus Patrick Mahomes.
Right.
New style quarterback in Patrick Mahomes versus old school quarterback Tom Brady. And then on the other side, it was Drew Brees versus new style quarterback Jared Goff. you know?
Right.
Now, in the Super Bowl, we have that same scenario. New style quarterback Jared Goff versus Tom Brady. Now, I'm a firm believer, and I've been saying this since the matchup of the AFC and NFC championship games, is that whoever wins this game, it's just a sign that the new era is here or it isn't.
Right.
So if Jared...
Well,
I mean, it's here, but
it
I think
is.
I think that if Jared Goff goes out and beats Tom Brady and gets his first Super Bowl, then the new era's coming in.
Right, Jared Goff he needs to be smart because a lot of things are going to be thrown at him that
he hasn't seen. Yeah.
You know? I mean, he's going to watch New England tape until, you know, he's about ready to regurgitate it, but they're gonna throw in some things that he is not seen.
They haven't even put the personnel on the field all season.
That is the thing, and not even the personnel, but just the way they do it and thing. I mean, it's just amazing that every year that Belichick can come up with something that nobody's seen before. It's like, dude, where are you coming up with these ideas?
It's like the dude in Waterboy with the green notebook. He's got to have a green notebook somewhere that just has a bunch of crazy stuff.
And the thing is, I mean, and we've talked about this before. New England, it's not like they're a team full of great players.
No, but they know how to utilize their talent.
Right.
Tom Brady is one of the greatest quarterbacks, but minus that, Julian Edelman, dude's a walk-on free agent, basically.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Trying to think of whoever, you know? Bunch of no-name people that if they weren't on the Patriots, you wouldn't know who they were anyway. You know? If Bill Belichick hadn't made them the player that they are, they might be in the league still, but they're not going to make the impact that they have without Tom Brady, without Bill Belichick, without everyone in New England, you know?
Right.
So the fact that Bill Belichick has been doing this consistently for years and years and years and years.
Yeah.
I mean, it's amazing. And as much as I hate the New England Patriots as a Denver Broncos fan, you can't...
You have to respect the team and what they've accomplished.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, for the next... if they win this year, they'll be the great... they're already considered one of the greatest football teams of all time. You know?
Yeah, I mean, we can't sit there and dispute it. I mean... What other team has done what the Patriots have done? I mean, yeah, the Buffalo Bills went to 4 straight Super Bowls, but guess what? They lost every one of those Super Bowls.
Right.
You know, this team has gone to 8 straight conference championships. I don't know how many straight division championships they've won. I think it's
and not
10
only
or
that, but
11
Tom
now.
Brady has played in more.
Tom Brady
has won more playoff games than any quarterback has even played in.
Right.
And
I mean, the guy's getting ready to become, you know, He's going to get his 6th championship, maybe. I mean, and if he's not going to retire, I mean...
He could get 8.
He could, you know. He honestly could. It's within reach. It's not like saying, there's no way this guy, he's washed up. No, because... Look at Peyton Manning his last year. You could tell the guy was done.
Yeah, he could barely throw it 40 yards downfield.
I mean, look at Tom Brady. This guy's still slinging that rock all over the place. I mean...
but you can tell his game's changed a little bit. He used to be more of a gunslinger, slinging it downfield, which he can still do.
He can do it if he needs to, but he's just so smart. He sits back there. He picks defenses apart.
Right.
You know, this is where the Rams really... Their front four, they need to put tremendous amounts of pressure on him and get him out of his rhythm.
Well, that's where...
Because if they can't get him out of the rhythm, I mean...
That's going to be the biggest factor, I believe, for the Rams, is that if they can get pressure on Tom Brady and throw off his internal timing, then they've got him just where they want him, hopefully, you know? But that's the thing. You can never count the Patriots out. They could be down 28-0 in the fourth quarter.
Right.
And that's 15 minutes. Tom Brady could make you look completely stupid.
Oh, yeah.
You know? So, with that being said, you know, we've gone over both sides, AFC and NFC. So, we got New England versus the LA Rams in Atlanta next Sunday.
Right.
Who you got?
Well, I mean, this isn't going to be my final pick. I mean, right now, though, I'm leaning towards the Patriots.
Okay.
But, I mean, I'll make my final pick next week when we have our show. Until somebody can do it, you know.
There's no reason to believe that the Patriots can be stopped.
Yeah, the Eagles did it last year. You know, maybe the Rams can. So, but I mean, it's just like this Rams team. I mean, this Patriots team. They win 5 games this year. Everybody's like, "Oh yeah, they're no good." Guess where they're at again?
Well, see,
they're in the Super Bowl again.
See, the thing is that for me, the biggest if factor is if the Rams can pull out everything. They have to literally lay it all out on the line and do everything in their human nature or like human possibility to win this game.
Right.
Now, on the other side of the ball, the Patriots don't necessarily have to do that. They can just play their own style of football and win.
And that's what they're going to do. You know, until the Rams force them off their game plan,
right?
They're going to go out there and they're going to do what the Patriots. They're not going to have these flashy, big 80-yard touchdown passes. You know, they're going to dink and dunk and move the ball down the field. They're going to control the clock. I mean, they're going to go on these 7 and 8 minute drives. Jared Goff's not going to hurt you if he's sitting on the sideline.
Right.
You know?
And that's how they beat Kansas City. Their first drive of the game was 7 minutes and 55 seconds.
Oh, yeah.
Well, and that was the longest drive that New England had all season.
Yeah, I mean...
They took up more than half the first quarter.
Right, on their first drive.
Right.
You know? And that's the thing that team has the ability to do. Mm-hmm. You know, as much as we hate Josh McDaniels here in Denver.
Well, yeah, because he came in and sabotaged Denver for the.
But him as an offensive play caller, I mean, the guy's genius.
Yeah, and once this whole Patriots team dissolves and they start parting people out, and Josh McDaniels goes out and gets his own head coaching gig.
Well, I think Josh McDaniels will be the next coach of the Patriots.
You think so?
I think that's why he reneged on accepting the Colts job. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, we'll see. You know, his name's been thrown around again, but I think Robert Kraft went to him and said, Belichick's not going to be around much longer, You stick around, and then when Belichick leaves, this job is yours.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Which is scary for us
we'll see.
Broncos fans.
That's my thought,
Mm-hmm. That's a scary thought for us Broncos fans.
Yeah. Today we have the Pro Bowl going on.
Yep, and I'm excited about that. We got 3.
Are you really?
Yeah, dude, I love the Pro Bowl.
Why?
Because it's a fun game.
Because they
listen.
No,
listen.
I know you're one of those offensive guys. You don't like defense.
Listen.
Okay, I'm listening.
So, we go through the regular season, and as a professional athlete, that regular season is your job.
Right.
You go through 16 games where you have to do exactly what you're told and be in position, play the game as... And it's not really a game anymore. It's a job. Like I said, it's a job for 16 weeks. This game gives these players... This game gives these players a chance to go out there with all these other players in the league, the best players in the league, and have some fun. And you see it every time the Pro Bowl is played, especially now since they've redone it to where you got 2 captains. They pick their teams. I mean, I know it's still AFC, NFC, but, it's still fun. That's all, I think that... For the NFL as a whole, it's good for them because they have the skills challenges where you get. I mean, most of these.
Well, I think this year they went back to a true AFC NFC.
Did they? They didn't
format.
pick the teams again.
No, it's not. I mean, I think that got played out.
I thought that was awesome.
It was okay. I still like the conference battles. But I mean. It's just an exhibition game.
Yeah, but it's fun.
It's a glorified preseason game.
Yeah, but
what it is.
But you have
they're not going out there to get anybody hurt or anything. So
no, I understand, and that's why. I mean, you remember when you were a kid, going out on the football field with all your friends and just playing a pickup game.
Yeah, and that's basically what this is like.
Yeah, it's a pickup game,
a controlled pickup game.
Yeah. And I just think it's fun to watch. I think it's cool.
I don't watch it.
You don't?
No, I just can't get into it. I can't get in. I don't know. I guess I'm just old.
Yeah, no,
I can't get into all the clowning and everything that goes on. I'm like, come on, guys, this is football.
Right. No, I just think
out here like playing a glorified preseason game.
I just think it's a good way to see the other side of people. They're out there with their friends.
I mean, it is nice to. I guess every now and then see him mess around and joking around on the field, but
I mean, I saw a picture yesterday with the 2 best rookie running backs, and that's Phillip Lindsay and Saquon Barkley.
Yeah,
you can't tell me that it's not cool that those 2 players got together and they're hanging out.
No, that is cool. I mean, and I like those types of things. I just wish the game itself, and I know it's just for fun, and it's like the NBA. All-Star game, there's no defense. Basically, all it is a slam dunk contest,
Right, it's 5-on-5 pickup game where you're just throwing alley-oops.
No. And I just really don't care for these All-Star games. The one that is the maybe the closest to a true game is the Major League Baseball.
Yeah.
So, but, other than that, I'm not a huge fan. I mean, I'm glad some Broncos got recognized. Von Miller, Chris Harris, our long snapper, I can't remember his name off the top of my head,
Yeah.
he got picked up. But, Lindsey Phillips was selected. Unfortunately, he's injured and he's not going to be able to play. But I think it's cool that on a bad team that we had, some of our guys, have been, honored by their peers and by fans, and selected to play in this game. But it's like I can't get into it.
Well, that's where me and you are different. I love it. I think it's fun. I think it's a great game to watch. I know it's not super competitive, and most of the time it's one-sided. But you still get to see players do stuff like that they normally wouldn't do.
Well, dude, I'm telling you this, man. If you can get to Orlando by within the next 4 hours, you can get tickets as low as $17.
Oh yeah,
that shows how much the fans really care about this game.
Right.
When you can get tickets to this game for $17.
I mean, you can't tell me it wouldn't be a good time to go watch that game.
No, it would be fun. I think what would be more enjoyable would be all the events that lead up to it.
That's what I love the most,
skills
too.
challenges, and just seeing the players down there and stuff like that.
And you get to see them as human beings, not as just professional athletes anymore.
Right.
This whole week.
So who you picking?
I'm gonna go AFC.
AFC.
I'm a Broncos fan, man.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna go with the NFC.
All right.
I mean, and I think.
What's the spread?
I don't know, like 45.
Yeah, what's the over/under? Like 120.
All right. Well, yeah. I mean, I know you're not a fan, but I'm a fan. It's gonna be a great day. I'm gonna go home and watch it.
I'm a fan. He's a fan. We're all fans.
Right. It's just football. I love football. So.
Yeah. Hey, there's nothing wrong with football.
All right. Well,
unfortunately, it's coming to an end.
Mm-hmm.
We got 2 more games. We got this.
I know, and
we got this glorified exhibition game. Then we got the Super Bowl, and then
it's done. And we gotta wait. We gotta redo this all over.
We got a lot of research and talking to do about what the Broncos are gonna do.
Yeah.
How they're gonna draft. I mean,
right.
That's gonna be fun.
Yeah.
I like doing that. Breaking down the team,
mm-hmm.
seeing what their weaknesses are, where they need to go, things like that.
And it's been a good season for me and you too. We made it through a whole football season doing this.
We did.
So
yeah.
Congratulations to you.
But, I mean, we still got a lot to talk about. We have, we have NBA.
Mm-hmm. My favorite part is
baseball. Pitchers and catchers report in like 4 weeks.
Right.
It seems like baseball just ended.
Yeah.
Spring training is going to restart again. So
I might have to make a trip down to Arizona to go see the the Rockies.
Yeah, I mean that would be fun.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be pretty neat. So, and then I like it. I mean NHL. I mean, I know we try to talk about it, but neither one of us are huge hockey fans.
I mean, I
haven't been I really lost interest in the hockey when they really changed the rules.
Yeah.
And made it. And every sport's going this way. The only one that really isn't is baseball, because you really can't change the game to make it more offensive minded.
Yeah, I mean, they added replay, and that's about all they can do.
Right, but I mean, the NHL changed the rules so it's more goal scoring, because that's what fans want to see. They want to see goals. It's like in football, they want to see touchdowns, They want to see home runs in baseball, but you know what? Baseball has stayed true to its form,
No, I completely agree.
And then NBA, I think NBA has just, the whole focus of the game has shifted more towards offense than defense. I remember Eastern Conference teams, I remember when those teams were just brutal and they beat you up and you play them, it's a defensive battle and you're getting knocked all over the place,
Right.
Now it's like, let's go run out, and it's an offensive-minded game.
Yeah.
That's why I love NBA basketball playoffs, because that's when teams really clamp down and start playing defense.
Right, and that's where you can tell the teams that don't play defense. That's why I'm a firm believer that why the Rockets haven't been to the finals, because they don't play defense.
No, they don't.
So.
And Oklahoma City's not great at it either.
No, definitely not. I mean, so.
And we'll see how the Nuggets are. So, but yeah, hey, it's been a great segment today, great show. I like doing it with you, Alex. Like you said, we made it through a whole football season.
Yeah, and we got plenty more. I mean, we're not going to stop.
Yeah.
We're going to keep this train rolling because, you said, I have a great time doing this with you. It's something I look forward to every week.
Come on, people, get us, share some time.
Yeah, and just as a a little heads up, we got something in the works. I'm not sure exactly what, but I was just rolling in and over it with my dad here, and we got a contest coming up here soon. So we're gonna see if we can get you guys some free stuff, hopefully, and we'll let you know the details as it progresses, and we'll keep you updated. All right?
Yeah, we will talk to you guys on the other side.
Good morning. CBG Productions presents Slade Sports Squad.
All right, I stopped it. You know what?